I believe that every single parent wants to raise good kids. But with so much information out there on social media, the internet, I feel like there's so much background noise that how do we know what the right way is? There's so many parenting styles and ways that we should punish or give our child a boundary or correction. And it's like, what is right? I can tell you that punishing your child will only make them look good on the outside. And so if punishments isn't an option, what can you do to raise a good child, a good human being? That's, like I said, our goal. In the long run, the punishments are only going to hurt them, and in the short term, they look really effective. But when we go to the future and we look at them as adults, it is not going to create the good, loving human that we want our child to be. But I'll share a little bit more about this later. So today we are going to be diving into the only way that you are going to be able to raise good kids. And I promise you it has nothing to do with how much you punish or don't punish your child. And I think by the end of this video, you are going to feel confident and ready to raise your child to be this good, loving, empathetic, kind human being. And it starts with you. I believe that the key to raising a good child is holding space for our children's very real human experience. And you're like, what? It's that simple? Well, yes, because we are in that moment. We are allowing our child to feel and to be whoever they are. And then we are able to come alongside of them and help them work through this in a healthy way. It's not saying that what they're doing is bad. It's not telling them that what they're doing is okay, that their behavior is validated. We are simply acknowledging what is going on in their inner world. And so I'm curious, what do you think holding space will communicate for your child? And if you're like, holding space, I don't even know what this means, I'm going to tell you all about how to hold space for your child, how to give them this room to really just be. Because I believe that this is the key. This is so important in helping our child to feel loved and cared about. And it helps them to process through what's going on. And I think that we as parents often want to rush and we want to rush them through that moment. And we forget that what's going on for them is really big to them. It's a really big deal. They're having a need in this moment and really has nothing to do with us. I think that's huge, right? It's huge when we can realize that their emotion is just them communicating a need. And so if we can allow there to be space for them to feel and just to be in their very real emotion. And I'm not saying, I want to keep reiterating this. I am not saying that it is okay for our child to hit, to be disrespectful, to backtalk, any of the above. It's not okay. But what I am saying is that holding that space for them is not going to change the outcome. Holding that space for them isn't going to make them a bad child, and it's not going to make them think that their behavior that they are displaying is okay. It's just simply going to give them the space to do so they can become calm, so we can help them to navigate these emotions in a way that's actually healthy for them. So they actually learn how to handle the anger or the frustration or the sadness or even the excitement, because excitement can sometimes look like anger. So how can we do that as parents? So we as parents need to ride out that wave of fight or flight. And that is where a tantrum, the intense emotion, the anger, the aggression, that's where that is coming out, right? And we need to realize that it's not us, right? It's not our fault that they're angry. Yes, we may have told them, you can't go to the store or you can't have a popsicle right now. And it feels like it's our fault and it feels like it's an attack on us. But all it is they have maybe a need for choice or maybe a need for autonomy. And they're trying to get that need met. And so their little brain has no idea how to do this. They're learning and they're figuring it out. So as they're figuring out, okay, I really need choice right now. I need choice to be able to do what I want to do. And so if I can't do what I want to do, I'm just going to throw a fit because I don't know what else to do, right? That is what is going on for them in that moment. So we need to ride that wave of fight or flight until we can start to see them come back down. I've given the wave analogy before, and you can feel the intensity like just coming to a peak. And then all of a sudden, especially if you have a toddler, the cries are going to get less and less and less and less. And as they start to ride that wave down, right? They're coming down that wave. That is when we can engage in conversation. This is where we get to show up and we get to teach. We get to show them this is what we do in these kinds of situations. Here's what's not okay. Here's what you can do. Really focusing on what they can do, because this child has not had as much experience as you and me. So they don't actually know what to do in these situations. And let's be honest, you and I don't really know what to do because we haven't been taught. So we need somebody to begin modeling and showing us how to behave in certain situations. And that's why I believe holding space is going to give them the acceptance that they are needing for what they are going through. It's going to express to them the empathy and the understanding, the safeness. They're going to feel so safe and secure knowing that they can just be, and it's not going to waver me. It's not going to change me. I'm not going to become this person that is mean or angry or sad or just walks away, right? I am going to be this mom that is fully here, and nothing you do is going to change that. Nothing is going to change how I'm showing up for you. There's nothing you could do to change how much I love you and how much I'm going to show up for you. And that is so securing for a child. Now, if you're listening to me and you're like, wait, hang on, you're talking about feelings, you're talking about needs, I have no idea what you're talking about. I am actually in the process of creating my Heart of Parenting course, and maybe by the time you're watching this, I've already launched it. I plan on launching it in the summer of 2024. If so, I will link that below. But in the first module, I talk about communication and how we need to understand our child's feelings and our child's needs, and also our feelings and our needs, so we can be able to start this conversation. But what happens if we don't hold this space for our child? How is it going to make them bad? I'm going to share more about this in a minute. But if you're like me, you probably enjoy examples of holding space. So I am going to run you through an example that I use pretty often, which is when a child doesn't clean their room. So let's say your child says, no, I don't want to clean my room. They begin crying and they're trying to hit you. You could say something like this, like, I can hear that you're really upset. When you're calm, I would like to talk about this. And let's just say that they start to approach you a bit and they're like trying to hit you. You could say something like, I can see that you're really, really angry, and I'm going to just back up to keep my body safe, but I'll be here until you're calm. Letting them know that you're still there. You're not going anywhere. You love them. You're in that space with them. You're going to be there no matter what is so gratifying for them, right? And it's allowing them to know that, like, they don't have to stop feeling angry. You're just here. You're going to be here. You're present. And nothing that they are going to do or say right now is going to make you go away. They want to know that you're going to be there. And I think when we think about situations like this, as parents, we either want to walk away, or we just want to start yelling, or we want to start fixing and changing. And so what I want to do here is encourage you to hold that space. And you can say little phrases like these to let them know that you're still there and you're still engaged, but not trying to change the emotion, not saying, oh, but honey, if this, or oh, here's a bribe. Like, no, like, let's just be in it. Let's just sit in it. Let's weather the storm together. Now let's say that you try to get low. You get as close as it is safe to be to your child. And if the child allows, this will really take that authoritative feeling out of the moment. And sometimes this just quiets them in itself. Like, this can sometimes take a tantrum and totally squash it, because You went from being the authoritative person, here, you need to do this, I'm telling you because I said so, and just coming down on their level. It just helps them to feel like, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm your teammate. I'm your teacher. I want to guide you through this. And sometimes that in itself just helps to calm them down. Like I can literally see it in my children's eyes when I come down. You can see it in them. They just, you're here. You're here with me. And that's what we want when we're holding space. So once they've started to come down that wave, right, we are going to begin asking questions to help your child get a better understanding of what happened. And maybe you even need a better understanding of what happened, but helping your child to put together the pieces of why they're feeling frustrated. This will give you a better guide into how to actually help them through the emotions. So that way you're not just throwing out random things like, oh, you could try this or do this or don't do that, or, whatever. You get to actually tailor it to the situation. Because as much as this specific scenario probably won't happen again, something similar is going to happen. And we want to start giving them access to new ways that they could approach a situation like this. And granted, they're probably not going to choose the right way, but it may start coming up in their mind. And that's what we want to happen. We want it to come online that, maybe instead of hitting, maybe I could just communicate with you that I'm feeling really angry and I just want to be heard. Or maybe I could just come over to you and say, Mama, I need to calm down, and I will help you to calm down. Like, give them what they can do and try your best to not tell them what not to do in those moments, especially in the toddler years. They absolutely hate being told what not to do, and it's really confusing for their minds as well, because they're like, okay, you told me what not to do, but what do I do? And that is probably one of the most common questions I get asked with toddlers is like, okay, my toddler's not listening and I keep telling them not to do all these things. And it's like, but have you told them what to do? Because that's much easier for their brains to understand rather than what not to do. So if this whole idea of holding space feels totally new to you, maybe it's even triggering, it's overwhelming, I want you to know that this is totally normal. You may be thinking even something like, okay, but if I'm not, if I'm holding space and I'm not punishing my child, like, I don't understand, how is this punishment thing gonna make my child bad? Punishments make children behave out of fear. It may seem like a child has learned their lesson, as so many people have said, because they no longer do this behavior. They're not repeating the behavior, but this is simply not true. What happens is they just are suppressing their inner world, and this is not teaching them how to healthfully, I don't think that's the right word, but how to be more healthy in expressing their feelings, things such as anger or sadness. We actually want to teach them how to do that. And if we're just punishing them, we're suppressing their inner world and saying, hey, if you're feeling angry, just don't feel it. And I believe that is when, at least for me, that is when I've actually been explosive. That's when I've been a terrible friend, a terrible daughter, a terrible wife, because I didn't know what to do with the anger when I was feeling it. And imagine if I had had the tools where I was taught, like, this is how you engage with yourself when you're feeling anger. I think I would be a much kinder person in those situations. I have much more empathy and love and compassion. And so this is why I believe that our job as a parent is to teach our child skills to feel the emotions they are feeling, to help them get their need met and discover what that need even is, so they're just not going around hitting their next victim, right? We want to really help our child to understand what's going on in their inner world, communicate that to us, explain their feelings, and then what they're physically needing, right? Are they needing compassion? Are they needing to be heard? Are they needing connection, autonomy? All these kinds of needs, which, if you're unfamiliar with these, is this, again, what I teach in the Heart of Parenting. It's derived from nonviolent communication. But if you're like, okay, I want to learn more about all of this, make sure you subscribe to my channel, because this is what I talk about. This is what I help parents to discover, is how do I parent my child without the punishments? And if you're listening to this and you're like, I'm totally triggered, I have no idea, please comment below. Because this is triggering for so many parents, because they feel like this child isn't going to learn their lesson. They're not going to stop the behavior. But for me, those behaviors just get replaced with a different behavior. if we're suppressing. You may not even see your child doing worse things until later down the road, and it may turn into things like lying or, doing things behind your back. And we surely do not want that as parents. So it's important that we are being there with our child in these moments, holding that space. So I know what you're thinking. Okay, so I'm supposed to teach my child how to feel what they're feeling, and I don't even know how to do that myself. That is what I'm here for. I am a parenting coach, and I help parents to discover what they're feeling, what they're needing, and how to communicate that to their children, how to show up with love and kindness and empathy, and just to be able to be the parent that they so want to be and that their children really need them to be. I give them the tools and the resources and the understanding on how to continue moving forward and really show up in a way that's productive for both them and their child. It's really important to me to help parents to get to the root of what do they value, what are their strengths, and then how do we parent from that place? And I give parents really that guide of like, okay, so you really value kindness and you really value family. So when your child is having a moment, how do you use your value for kindness and your value for family in this moment? Because that's how you want to show up, right? So I give parents the complete guide on how to show up in this way and not have to use punishments, which for me made me the happiest parent. It made me so happy and it just freed me. And this is what I believe every parent has access to. They just need the tools and they just need to be taught. And it just takes some self-discovery and inner work. And that's what I want to do for you. So if that is something that interests you, there is a link below that you can sign up for coaching and submit an application. I truly believe that when we learn how to be fully present, we are able to hold that space for our child's very real human experience, that we will be able to raise good, loving, kind, empathetic humans who care way more about the well-being of another human being than anything else. And for me, that is all I want. I just want my children to grow up and to just know that what they are doing and how they are showing up is of their best self. And I want them to feel confident and to just, be the humans that they were created to be and not be afraid of it and not be afraid of their emotions. Allow them to be and know how to handle them. So if you like this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or maybe even thoughts about this video, make sure that you comment below. I do really enjoy reading so many of your questions and comments. If you couldn't tell, I'm very passionate about what I do. And I just hope that I can help a few parents out there just to discover how to become the parent that they've always wanted to be. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and happy parenting.